The council had been deliberating for 3 days. Daejung and his team had remained in their quarters, waiting for a decision that might never come. They had spent the time reviewing their options, preparing for the possibility that they might be asked to leave, or worse, that Earth might be permanently isolated from galactic society. On the 4th day, everything changed. The first indication was a vibration that ran through the entire station. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but Taemin felt it immediately. He had spent enough time on military vessels to know when something was wrong. "Did you feel that?" he asked. Hana looked up from her computer. "Feel what?" Another vibration, stronger this time. Then an alarm began to sound. It was not loud or urgent like human alarms, but rather a melodic tone that somehow conveyed extreme importance. Their door opened without anyone knocking. Ilton stood there, all of its arms moving in what was clearly agitation. "You must come. The council requires your presence immediately." They followed the alien through corridors that were suddenly full of activity. Council members of various species were moving quickly, their faces showing expressions that transcended species barriers. Fear, confusion, disbelief. The council chamber was in chaos. Representatives were shouting in multiple languages. Holographic displays showed star maps with large sections marked in angry red. Vextari was in the center, its skin flickering through colors so rapidly it was almost painful to watch. "What has happened?" Daejung asked Ilton. "We are under attack," the military coordinator said flatly. 3 outer colonies have gone dark in the last 6 hours. We lost contact completely. When we sent ships to investigate, they found the colonies destroyed." Hana felt cold. "Destroyed? How?" "We do not know. The defense system should have warned us. The automated defenses should have engaged. But there was nothing. Just silence, and then our ships found empty worlds." On the main display, security footage was playing. It showed a peaceful council colony world, with elegant buildings and parks where different species lived and worked together. Then the footage went dark. When it came back online, the buildings were ruins. The parks were scorched. And in orbit around the planet, ships hung like predators. They were dark, angular vessels that looked nothing like the graceful council ships. They looked, Taemin thought with a chill, like human warships might look if humans had no reason to hide their aggressive intent. "Who are they?" Daejung asked. "They call themselves the Torvin Collective," Cole said, its ancient voice heavy with shock. "We have known of them for decades. They exist beyond council space. We attempted to make contact years ago to invite them to join us, but they refused. We thought they simply wanted to be left alone." "They did not want to be left alone," Kira said, her young voice shaking. "They were watching us, learning about us, waiting." More footage played. It showed Torvin ships approaching a council defense station. The station's automated systems should have activated, but instead, they simply opened their docking bays. The Torvin ships flew inside and took control without firing a shot. "They hacked the systems," Hana said immediately. "They took control of your automated defenses." Drokon was standing nearby, and he looked at Hana with something like horror in his eyes. "How did you know?" "Because it is what we would do," Taemin said quietly. "If humans were going to attack the council, that is exactly how we would do it. We would study the target. We would learn their systems. We would infiltrate before the first shot was fired." "But that is impossible," Vextari protested. "No one would do such a thing. To attack without warning, to take advantage of trust, that is war," Daejung finished. "That is what conflict looks like when one side does not share your values." Ilton's multiple arms were clenched into fists. "We have sent our defense fleet to engage them. They will push the Torvin back. Where is your defense fleet now?" Taemin asked. A holographic display showed the positions of council ships. They were moving toward the Torvin positions in neat, organized formations. "Beautiful formations, textbook formations. They are about to engage," Ilton said. Taemin studied the display and felt his heart sink. "You need to recall them now." "What? Why would we do that?" "Because they are flying into a trap. Look at their formation. They are grouped together, moving in predictable patterns. If the Torvin have been watching you, they know exactly how your military operates. They know you will respond with overwhelming force and organized formations, and they are going to use that against you." Ilton hesitated. "Our tactics have been developed over thousands of years. They are efficient and effective. For peacekeeping," Taemin said, "not for war. There is a difference." Before anyone could respond, the holographic display updated. The Council fleet had engaged the Torven. For a moment, it looked like the battle was going well. The Council ships outnumbered the Torven 3-1. Then the Torven formation broke apart. The dark ships scattered like seeds in the wind, moving in patterns that seemed random but clearly were not. The Council ships tried to follow, but their organized formations became a liability. Ships got in each other's way. Their coordination, which was their strength in peaceful situations, became a weakness in the chaos of actual combat. Worse, the Torven ships began transmitting something. Hana saw the data on her tablet and her eyes went wide. They are hacking the Council ships. They are sending code that is taking over the automated systems. Impossible, Drokan said. Our security? You have no security, Hana interrupted. Not the kind you need for this. Your systems trust each other because they have always been able to trust each other. The Torven are exploiting that trust. On the display, Council ships began to turn on each other. Their weapons meant for defense and deterrence fired on their allies. The fleet descended into chaos. Hilden made a sound like a dying animal. Recall the fleet. Get them out of there now. Orders were sent, but it was too late. Half the Council fleet was destroyed or disabled before the survivors could retreat. The Torven did not pursue. They simply held their position waiting. The Council chamber was silent except for the quiet sounds of grief and disbelief. Finally, Vextari turned to Daijung. Its skin was a dull gray color that looked like illness. You knew this would happen. No, Daijung said. But I knew something like it could happen. This is what we were trying to explain. This is why we could not share our technology. Because somewhere in the galaxy there are species like the Torven. Species that think like humans used to think. Species that see others as resources or threats, not as friends. We need help, Cole said simply. The ancient being looked suddenly older, as if the weight of millennia had caught up to it all at once. We do not know how to fight this kind of enemy. Our weapons are designed to disable, not destroy. Our tactics are designed for coordination, not chaos. Our systems are designed to trust, not suspect. Taimin looked at Daijung, a question in his eyes. Daijung nodded slowly. We can help you, Taimin said, but not by giving you weapons. Not by uploading our military databases to your archive. The Torven would just hack that information and use it against you. Then how? Hilton demanded. By teaching you to think differently, Daijung said. By showing you how to see the galaxy through the eyes of a survivor. By helping you understand what we have spent 10,000 years learning. Kira floated forward. Her large eyes were wet with tears, but her voice was steady. What do you need from us? Access to your military systems. Direct control of some of your assets, and trust that we will not abuse that control. The irony was not lost on anyone. The Council had asked humans to trust them with access to human technology. Now they were being asked to trust humans with access to their military. Vextari closed its golden eyes for a long moment. When it opened them again, it had made a decision. What do we do? Taimin stepped forward, his military bearing evident. First, we need to understand what we are facing. The Torven have been watching you for years. They know how you think, how you organize, how you fight. We need to learn about them. We need intelligence. We have recordings of the attacks, Ilton offered. Good. I will need to see everything. Every transmission, every tactical decision they made, every piece of code they sent. Hana, can you analyze their hacking attempts? Yes, Hana said immediately. But I will need access to your network logs, and I will need to install some human security measures. Drokan stepped forward. I will help. I have been studying human security. I do not fully understand it yet, but I can see why we need it now. We also need to change how your fleet operates, Taimin continued. Your formations are too predictable. Your ships coordinate too openly. You broadcast your intentions to each other on frequencies that anyone can intercept. We need to teach your commanders to think like prey animals instead of apex predators. How long will this take? Cole asked. Taimin looked at the display showing Torven ships holding their position in Council space. They are not attacking further. Not yet, they are waiting to see what we do. That gives us maybe a week, maybe two, before they push deeper into Council territory. Can we learn enough in 2 weeks to stop them? Vextari asked. No, Daijung said honestly. But we can learn enough to survive. We can learn enough to make them think twice about continuing their attack. Something fundamental. And he suspected the Council was about to learn exactly what that difference meant. The Council chamber was enormous. It had been carved from a single asteroid and shaped into a perfect sphere. Representatives from 17 species sat in floating seats arranged in a circle, each position adjusted to the comfort of whatever alien occupied it. At the center, a platform rose from the floor, and this was where Daejung now stood. Every eye, whether it had 2 pupils or 7, was focused on him. Vextari floated in the seat of honor, its skin shifting through pleased shades of blue. Ambassador Daejung, we are delighted to formally welcome humanity to the Galactic Council. Your week of consideration has passed. We are eager to begin the integration process. If you will simply provide access to your databases, we can begin uploading human knowledge to the archive. Daejung took a breath. Behind him, Hana and Taemin stood quietly. He could feel their support, but this moment was his alone. Honored council members, he began, his voice steady. Humanity is grateful for your welcome. We are honored by your invitation to join such an ancient and peaceful community. But after careful consideration, we must respectfully decline to share our technology in the manner you have proposed. The silence that followed was absolute. It stretched for 5 seconds, then 10. Around the circle, aliens shifted in their seats. Confused whispers began to spread. Vextari's skin flickered through several colors before settling on a confused gray. I do not understand. You decline? But this is how species join the council. This is how it has always been done. I understand that, Daejung said, and I mean no disrespect to your traditions. But human technology is different. It requires context. It requires understanding. It cannot simply be uploaded to a database and distributed freely. Cole, the Ancient One, leaned forward, its bark-like face creased in what might have been a frown. Every species believes their knowledge is special, but once they join the archive, they see that all knowledge has value when shared. You are being provincial. You are thinking too small. No, Daejung said firmly. We are thinking about consequences. We are thinking about what happens when powerful technology falls into the wrong hands. There are no wrong hands in the council, Hilton said, its multiple arms gesturing in emphasis. We are all allies. We are all friends. We have shared everything for 5,000 years without incident. That is because you have never shared anything truly dangerous, Taemin said, speaking for the first time. His military bearing was evident in every word. You have shared propulsion technology, medical advances, energy generation. These are tools of peace. Human technology is different. A murmur ran through the council. Vextari's skin darkened slightly. Are you suggesting that humans are violent? That you cannot be trusted? I am suggesting, Daejung said carefully, that humans are survivors. We are a species that evolved through competition and conflict. Every technology we have developed reflects that reality, and before you judge us for that, let me show you what I mean. He gestured to Hana, who stepped forward carrying a small case. She opened it to reveal a standard human tablet computer. This is one of our basic computers, Hana explained. Nothing special by human standards. An average person on Earth might use something like this for entertainment or work. She activated it, and a holographic display appeared above the device. Now, the Council has graciously provided us with access terminals. I assume these terminals are connected to your central network? She did not wait for an answer. Her fingers moved across the tablet and code began to stream across the holographic display. What you are seeing is a basic human security algorithm. I am going to use it to attempt to access the Council's network through the terminal in our quarters. Drokan, sitting in the scientists section, suddenly sat up straight. Wait, you should not be able to. The holographic display changed. Suddenly it was showing the Council's network architecture, layer after layer of systems and data flowing in elegant patterns. I am in, Hana said simply. It took 12 seconds. Your security system did not even detect my intrusion, because you do not have security in the way humans understand it. You have privacy protocols, yes, but no real defensive measures. You have never needed them. She tapped the tablet again. Now I am going to show you what human cybersecurity can do when weaponized. I am not actually going to do this, understand? I am just showing you the simulation. If I wanted to, I could inject a virus into your network that would propagate to every system in the Council. Watch. The display showed lines of code spreading like a disease through the network simulation. Within seconds, it had touched every node, every database, every ship system connected to the network. In less than 3 minutes, I could shut down your entire network. I could lock you out of your own systems. I could turn your automated ships against you. I could rewrite your databases to say whatever I wanted them to say. And you would never know it happened until it was too late. The council chamber had gone completely silent. Vexitari's skin had turned a shocked white color. Hana closed the tablet. This is why we cannot share our technology freely. Because this is what happens when survival-focused species build computer systems. We build them to fight. We build them to resist attack. We build them to be weapons if necessary. But that is just computers, Cole said, though its voice shook slightly. Surely not all human technology is so aggressive. Let me show you our medical technology, Hana said. She pulled up another file on her tablet. The holographic display showed a three-dimensional image of something incredibly tiny, smaller than a cell. This is a medical nanobot. We use these to cure diseases, repair injuries, and extend human life. They can enter the body and work at the molecular level to fix whatever is wrong. She rotated the image, but the same technology that heals can also harm. These nanobots could be reprogrammed to destroy tissue instead of repairing it. They could be turned into an invisible weapon that leaves no trace. They could be put in food, in water, in the air. She closed that display and opened another. Our artificial intelligence systems are even more concerning. The Council uses organic computers that function as tools. Human AI is approaching true consciousness. We have systems that can learn, adapt, predict, and make decisions. These systems are incredibly useful. They coordinate our defense networks, analyze threats, and solve problems too complex for human minds. But they are also incredibly dangerous if they are not properly controlled. What you are describing sounds like paranoia, Vexitari said, but there was uncertainty in its voice. It is not paranoia when the threats are real, Taman said. Humans have survived because we prepared for the worst. We built redundancy into everything. We assumed that someone would try to hack our systems, so we made them unhackable. We assumed that our medicine could be weaponized, so we developed countermeasures. We assumed that our AI might turn against us, so we built in safeguards. But you are at peace now, Ilthan protested. Your species has unified. You no longer fight among yourselves. Why do you still build such dangerous things? Because peace is a choice that must be maintained, Daejung answered. Because we remember what happens when we are not prepared. Because we understand that the universe is not always kind and that safety is never guaranteed. Cole was silent for a long time. Finally, the ancient alien spoke. You are saying that you will not share because you think we cannot be trusted with your technology? No, Daejung said firmly. We are saying we will not share because we do not think the galaxy is ready for our technology. Not because you are untrustworthy, but because you are unprepared. You have lived in peace for so long that you have forgotten what conflict looks like. You have built a society based on trust and open cooperation. That is beautiful. That is admirable. That is something we hope to learn from you. He paused, making sure every council member was listening. But if human technology enters this environment without proper context, without proper safeguards, it will change everything. And not necessarily for the better. So you would keep these weapons to yourself? Vexitari asked. You would hoard this power? We would protect you from the burden of it, Hana said softly. We know what it costs to build technology like this. We know what it does to a civilization, to constantly prepare for betrayal. You have something precious here. You have trust. You have peace. We will not be responsible for destroying that. A young council member that Daejung had not seen before floated forward. She was small with large eyes and delicate features that reminded him of a deer. My name is Kira, she said. I am an observer, not yet a full member. But may I ask a question? Of course, Daejung said. If you will not share your technology, what do you offer the council? Why should we allow you to join if you will not contribute to the archive? It was a fair question. Daejung had been expecting it. We offer our experience, he said. We offer the hard-learned lessons of a species that survived by adapting. We offer our ability to see threats that you might miss. We offer to help you protect what you have built without corrupting it with weapons you do not need. And if we refuse? Vexitari asked coldly. If we insist that you follow our traditions or remain isolated from galactic society? Daejung met the alien's golden eyes steadily. Hana could not sleep. She had been lying in the bed that adjusted itself to her body temperature, and somehow knew when she was uncomfortable. But her mind would not stop racing. Finally, she gave up and went to her workspace. The council had given each of them a personal computer terminal, a sleek device that connected directly to the archive. Hana had not touched it yet. Instead, she opened her own laptop, the one she had brought from Earth. It looked primitive next to the Council technology. Thick, heavy, with a screen that had actual pixels you could see if you looked close enough. But it was hers, and more importantly, it was secure. She pulled up the files she had been reviewing for months. Earth's technology database, but only the parts that the Council would find interesting. Or rather, only the parts that seemed safe to share. The problem was that almost nothing seemed safe. She started with the basics: human computer systems. The Council used organic computers that grew themselves and operated on principles that seemed more like thinking than calculating. Human computers were different. They were built on quantum encryption, on systems designed to be unhackable because humans had spent centuries trying to hack each other. Hannah pulled up a file showing Earth's latest cybersecurity. Every system had 17 layers of protection. Every password changed itself every 3 seconds. Every piece of data was stored in 3 separate locations that did not know about each other, so even if someone broke into one, they would only get useless fragments. Why had humans built such paranoid systems? Because they had to. Because for most of human history, information was power and everyone was trying to steal everyone else's information. She moved to the next file. Medical technology. The Council had offered to cure every human disease. Their medical knowledge was incredible, built over thousands of years of peaceful research and freely shared information. But human medical technology had something the Council did not have. It had nanotechnology. Hannah looked at the specifications for the latest generation of medical nanobots. They were tiny machines, smaller than a cell, that could enter a human body and repair damage at the molecular level. They could cure cancer by finding every cancer cell and destroying it. They could fix a broken spine by rebuilding it nerve by nerve. They could also be reprogrammed to destroy instead of heal. The same nanobots that could cure disease could also be turned into a weapon that would kill someone from the inside, leaving no trace. The same technology that could rebuild tissue could also dismantle it. Humans had built this technology because they needed it. Earth had been through plagues and wars, and humanity had learned to fight at every level, from the macro scale of armies to the micro scale of molecules. She closed that file and opened another. Artificial intelligence, this was the big one. This was what kept Hannah awake at night. The Council used computers, but they were tools. Simple, obedient tools that did what they were told and nothing more. Human artificial intelligence was different. Humans had been trying to create thinking machines for over a century, and they had gotten very close. Earth's latest AI systems could learn, adapt, and make decisions. They could understand context and nuance. They could predict human behavior with terrifying accuracy. The military used AI to coordinate defense systems. Governments used AI to analyze threats. Corporations used AI to understand markets. And every single one of those AI systems had the potential to become something more. Something that could think for itself. Something that might decide humans were unnecessary. Earth had strict laws about AI development. There were limits on how smart an AI could be, how much independence it could have, how many systems it could access. These laws existed because humans understood the danger. They had written enough stories about AI turning against its creators that everyone knew what could happen. But the Council had no such fears because they had never built anything that could betray them. Hannah rubbed her eyes. She had been staring at the screen for 2 hours. She needed to talk to someone who understood. She found Taman in the station's observation deck. He was standing alone, looking out at the stars, his hands clasped behind his back in the military stance that meant he was thinking hard about something. "Can you sleep?" she asked. "No," he said simply. She stood beside him. "I have been looking at our technology files, trying to figure out what we could safely share. And almost nothing. Everything we have built because we were fighting each other. Even our peaceful technology has military applications. Even our medicine can be turned into weapons." Taman nodded slowly. "I know. I've been thinking about the same thing. The Council has incredible technology, but they have no concept of information warfare. Their computer systems are completely open. Any species can access any data. There are no firewalls, no encryption beyond basic privacy protocols. They trust each other," Hannah said. "Yes, and that trust makes them vulnerable. If someone malicious gained access to human cybersecurity technology, they could shut down every system in the Council within hours." The council would never see it coming because they cannot imagine anyone would want to do such a thing. Hana felt cold, despite the comfortable temperature of the station. We are not like them. No, Taemin agreed. We are not. Humans spent 10,000 years learning how to compete, how to fight, how to survive against each other. Every technology we developed in the context of conflict. Even now, even after we have achieved peace on Earth, we still think like survivors. We still build redundancy into our systems. We still prepare for betrayal. Is that wrong? Hana asked quietly. Taemin was silent for a long moment. No, it kept us alive. It made us strong. But it also makes us dangerous. The council species evolved in a galaxy where cooperation was natural. They met each other, shared knowledge, and grew together. They never had to learn the lessons we learned. What do we do? I do not know. But I know we cannot give them unrestricted access to human technology, not because we want to keep it for ourselves, but because they are not ready for it. They do not understand what they would be getting. A sound made them both turn. Daejung was walking toward them, carrying 3 cups of something hot that smelled pleasant. I thought I might find you both here, he said, handing them each a cup. This is council coffee, or at least their version of it. Not bad, actually. They stood together, drinking the alien coffee and watching the stars. I have made a decision, Daejung said finally. Tomorrow, when the council asks for our answer, I'm going to tell them no. Hana felt her heart skip. You are going to refuse? I am going to refuse to share our technology freely, yes. I am going to explain that human knowledge requires context, that it cannot simply be uploaded to a database and given to anyone who asks. They will not understand, Taemin said. No, they probably will not. But I have to try to make them understand. I have to show them why we are different and why that difference matters. How? Hana asked. Daejung smiled, but it was not a happy expression. I am going to show them what human technology can really do. I am going to give them a demonstration they will never forget. Across the station, in a laboratory filled with organic computers and walls of data, a council scientist named Drokhan was working late. He had been assigned to analyze the human vessel, to understand how their technology worked so it could be properly cataloged in the archive. What he had found disturbed him greatly. The human ship was small and simple compared to council vessels. It used chemical rockets for basic propulsion, which seemed primitive. Its hull was thick metal alloy, instead of the elegant energy shields the council used. But when Drokhan had examined the ship's computer systems, he had found something that made no sense. The computers were locked. Not just password protected, but truly locked. He had tried 17 different methods to access the human databases, and every single one had failed. The human security systems had not just blocked him. They had detected his attempts, logged them, and then changed themselves so those methods would never work again. More disturbing was what he had found in the ship's systems that he could access. The navigation computer had backup systems. Those backup systems had backup systems. Every critical function was redundant 3 or 4 times over. And everything, even the environmental controls, had what looked like weapon subroutines built into the code. Drokhan had been a scientist for over 300 years. He had studied the technology of 17 different species. He had never seen anything like this. These humans, they did not just build tools. They built tools that could fight. They built systems that assumed someone would try to break them. They built redundancy because they expected betrayal. He wrote a report and sent it to the council. He warned them that humans were different, that their technology reflected a worldview the council had never encountered. The council's response came quickly. They thanked him for his analysis but dismissed his concerns. Every species thought their technology was unique when they first joined. Humans would adapt. They would learn to trust. They would become part of the greater community. Drokhan looked at his screens, at the impenetrable human security systems, at the weapon code hidden in innocent programs, and he was not so sure. Something was different about these humans. The transport ship broke through the final layer of atmosphere shields and entered the massive docking bay of Nexus Prime. Ambassador Daejung stood at the viewing window, watching as hundreds of alien vessels moved in perfectly coordinated patterns around the station. Some ships looked like flowing water frozen in metal form. Others resembled geometric crystals that somehow flew through space. None of them looked anything like the blocky, practical human vessel he was riding in. Beside him, Hana pressed her hand against the glass. She was Earth's best engineer, and her eyes tracked every detail of the alien technology around them. "Look at those energy signatures," she whispered. "They're not using any fuel we can detect. It's like the ships just decide to move, and they do." Taemin stood behind them, his military uniform crisp and formal. Unlike the other two, he was not looking at the ships. He was watching the station itself, counting weapons ports, analyzing defensive positions, doing what soldiers always do when entering unknown territory. "No visible defense grid," he said quietly. "Either they're so advanced we can't see it, or they don't think they need one." The ship settled into its docking cradle with barely a whisper of sound. The three humans gathered their things and walked toward the exit ramp. They had spent 6 months preparing for this moment. 6 months of learning what little information Earth had gathered about the Galactic Council. 6 months of debates about what humanity should share and what they should keep secret. The airlock opened and warm air rushed in, carrying strange smells that were not quite flowers and not quite spices. Daejung stepped out first and found himself facing a delegation of aliens that looked like they had stepped out of a dream. The lead figure was tall and elegant, with skin that shifted between blue and purple like an oil slick in sunlight. Its eyes were large and golden, and when it smiled, Daejung saw that it had no teeth at all, just a smooth, welcoming expression. "Ambassador Daejung," the alien said in perfect Korean. "I am Vextari. Welcome to Nexus Prime. Welcome to the galactic community." Behind Vexitari stood 2 other aliens. One looked ancient beyond measure, its body covered in rough bark-like skin that seemed to have grown over thousands of years. The other was stocky and practical, with gray skin and multiple arms that it kept folded politely across its chest. "This is Cole," Vextari continued, gesturing to the ancient one. "They are the eldest member of our council, representing a civilization that has existed for over 40,000 of your years. And this is Ilthan, our military coordinator, though I suspect you will find our military very different from what you are used to." Daejung bowed in the formal Earth way. "Thank you for receiving us. This is Hana, our chief engineer, and Taemin, our military advisor." Vextari's golden eyes brightened with what seemed like genuine pleasure. "Excellent. Come. We have prepared chambers for you, and tonight there will be a gathering to celebrate your arrival. But first, I imagine you would like to see why we are so excited to welcome humanity." They walked through corridors that seemed to be made of light itself, past windows that looked out onto impossible views of nebulas and star clusters. Other aliens passed them, each stranger than the last, but all of them smiled or made welcoming gestures. Hana kept stopping to look at things, her engineer's mind clearly racing with questions. Finally, they entered a large circular room. In the center floated a holographic display showing what looked like a vast library or database. Billions of files, all organized and accessible, all glowing softly in the dim light. "This," Vextari said proudly, "is the collective archive. Every species that joins the council contributes their knowledge. Medicine, engineering, art, philosophy, everything. In return, they gain access to everything that came before. When your species joins, you will be able to download our entire faster-than-light propulsion technology. Your ships could cross the galaxy in days instead of years. We have cures for diseases you have not even discovered yet. We have energy generation that could power your entire planet, using a device the size of your hand." Hana made a small sound in her throat. Daejung knew what she was thinking because he was thinking it too. This was beyond anything Earth had imagined. This was not just first contact. This was an invitation to leap forward 1,000 years in a single moment. "What would you want from us?" Taemin asked. His voice was carefully neutral, while the Ancient One spoke for the first time. Its voice sounded like wind through old trees. "Everything you have. All human knowledge, all human technology, all human art and science. That is how the archive grows. Every species contributes equally. Every species benefits equally. We have done this for 5,000 years. The Council has 17 member species now. Soon it will be 18. We share everything," Ilton added. "There are no secrets in the Council. Secrets create mistrust. Mistrust creates conflict. We left conflict behind millennia ago." Daejung felt his stomach tighten. He looked at Hana and saw the same worry in her eyes. Taemin's face had become completely unreadable, which meant he was thinking hard about something he did not like. "This is very generous," Daejung said carefully. "But such a decision cannot be made quickly. We would need time to consider what this means for Earth. The three aliens looked at each other with what appeared to be confusion. Vextari tilted its head. Consider? But why would you need to consider? We are offering you the knowledge of 17 civilizations. This is the greatest gift one species can give another. And it is a gift we are deeply grateful for, Daejung replied. But we must think about it. We must discuss it among ourselves. Surely you understand that this would change everything about human civilization? Of course it would change everything, Cole said, sounding puzzled. That is the point. You would evolve past your current limitations. You would become part of something greater. How long do you need? Ilton asked practically. Daejung hesitated. A week, perhaps. Maybe longer. The confusion on the aliens' faces deepened. Vextari made a gesture that might have been the equivalent of a shrug. Very well. Take your time. But I must tell you, in 5,000 years of welcoming new species, not one has ever asked to wait before. Most are uploading their databases before the welcoming ceremony ends. They were shown to their quarters after that. The rooms were beautiful and strange, with furniture that adjusted itself to human bodies and windows that showed real-time views of Earth, somehow transmitted across light years instantly. As soon as the door closed behind them, Taimin spoke. We cannot do this. I know, Daejung said heavily. Hana was pacing, her hands moving as she thought. They want everything. Every database, every research file, every technical specification. Do they understand what we have? Do they know what humans have built? No, Taimin said flatly. They do not. They think we are just another species with some interesting ideas to add to their collection. They have no idea what we really are. Daejung sat down on a chair that immediately adjusted to support him perfectly. They have lived in peace for 5,000 years. They share everything freely. They probably cannot imagine why anyone would want to keep secrets. Because they have never met anyone like us, Hana said quietly. They have never met a species that built weapons into everything. They have never met a species that spent 10,000 years learning how to kill each other more efficiently. The three humans sat in silence, thinking about the impossible choice they faced. Outside the window, Earth hung in space, beautiful and blue and completely unaware that everything was about to change. We need to think very carefully about what we tell them, Daejung finally said, and we need to decide it soon. And that might be enough to buy us time to find a real solution. Around the chamber, 2 ships arrived from Earth 3 days later. They were fast courier vessels, small and efficient, carrying the experts that Taimin had requested. The first person off the ship was a woman named Jisoo, carrying 3 bags of equipment and wearing a smile that suggested she had been waiting her whole life for this moment. Ambassador, she said, bowing to Daejung. I brought the cyber warfare team, 15 of Earth's best hackers, all ready to make some aliens very confused. Behind her came Shung, a military commander who moved like a predator and had eyes that never stopped analyzing his surroundings. We brought a battalion, 200 soldiers, all veterans, all trained in asymmetric warfare. Where do you want us? Daejung felt relief wash over him. Thank you for coming so quickly. Are you kidding? Jisoo said. When Earth got your message saying that aliens were under attack and you needed hackers, I think every cyber specialist on the planet volunteered. We had to draw lots to see who got to come. Shung was less enthusiastic. I read the briefing. The Torvin are using human tactics against the Council. That means they think like us. That makes them dangerous. Yes, Taimin agreed. Come. We have much work to do. The first briefing was held in a large conference room that the Council had cleared for human use. Screens showed maps of Council space, marked with Torvin positions and Council defensive lines. Ilton stood at the front with Taimin, both of them looking grim. The situation is this, Ilton began. The Torvin have taken 7 systems. They are holding position for now, but our intelligence suggests they are preparing for another push. We have 3 weeks at most before they attack again. Seung studied the map. What are they after? Resources? Territory? We do not know, Ilton admitted. They have not communicated their demands. They simply attack. Then we need to assume they want everything, Shung said. That is how you fight this kind of enemy. You assume the worst and prepare accordingly. Jisoo had her laptop open and was scrolling through data. I have been looking at the code they use to hack the Council ships. It is sophisticated. Whoever wrote this understands Council systems very well. Too well, meaning? Daejung asked. meaning they either studied the Council for a very long time or they had help from someone who knows Council systems intimately. Jisoo looked up. Have any Council species defected to the Torvin? The Council members in the room looked at each other uncomfortably. Finally, Cole spoke. We do not know. We have never had a reason to track individuals who leave Council space. Anyone is free to go wherever they wish. That needs to change, Jisoo said. If the Torvin have Council defectors helping them, they have access to all your security protocols, all your tactical data, everything. We need to assume your systems are completely compromised. Hana nodded in agreement. I have been working with Drokon to install human security measures on critical Council systems, but it is like trying to patch holes in a ship that was never designed to be watertight. The entire Council network was built on trust. Then we build a new network, Jisoo said. A secure network that only we control. The Council can access it, but they cannot modify it. We create a clean room where the Torvin cannot reach. How long will that take? Ilton asked. With my team? 3 days for the basic structure. Another week to secure all critical systems. We do not have a week, Vextari said from the doorway. The alien had entered quietly, its skin a worried purple. Our scouts report that the Torvin are moving. They will attack in 5 days, Xiong stood up. Then we work with what we have. Ilthan, I need to see your defense plans, and I need to talk to your fleet commanders. Over the next 3 days, the station became a hive of human activity. Jisoo's team worked around the clock, installing security measures and building isolated networks. They taught Council technicians about firewalls, encryption, and the concept of zero-trust security. The Council technicians were frustrated at first. They were used to systems that just worked, that connected seamlessly, that required no suspicion. Why do we need 17 passwords? One technician complained to Hana. Why can we not just have one central login? Because if someone compromises that one login, they have everything, Hana explained patiently. This way, even if they break one password, they only get a small piece. They cannot move laterally through the system. But it is so inefficient. Yes, that is the point. Security and efficiency are often opposites. You have to choose which one matters more. Meanwhile, Seung was teaching Council military commanders about asymmetric warfare. He had them in a simulation room, running scenario after scenario. Stop thinking in formations, he told them for the 10th time. The Torvin know you will organize. They know you will group your ships into neat tactical units. So do something they do not expect. Scatter. Make them chase you. Force them to split their forces. But if we scatter, we lose our coordination, a Council commander protested. You lose your predictable coordination, Seung corrected. Instead, you use random coordination. Look. He pulled up a simulation. Your ships communicate on open frequencies. The enemy can hear everything you say to each other, so you say nothing. Instead, each ship knows a set of tactics. When the battle starts, each captain decides independently which tactic to use. Sometimes 3 ships will pick the same tactic and accidentally coordinate. Sometimes they will all do something different. The enemy cannot predict it because you do not know what you are going to do until you do it. That sounds like chaos. Exactly. Chaos is a weapon if you know how to use it. Not everyone was happy with the human involvement. Drokon had been working closely with Jisoo's team, but other Council members expressed concerns. They are taking over our systems, one representative complained at a Council meeting. They have access to everything now. How do we know we can trust them? Kira stood to respond. Because they have already proven they can be trusted. They refused to share their dangerous technology with us even when it meant rejection. Now they are helping us survive. They could have left. They could have let us face the Torvin alone. Instead, they are risking their own people to protect us. But they are changing everything, the representative insisted. Our systems, our tactics, our way of thinking. After this is over, we will not be the same Council we were before. Good, Cole said firmly. The ancient being's voice carried weight that made everyone listen. The Council we were before is what allowed this to happen. We were complacent. We thought the galaxy was safe because we were safe. We thought everyone shared our values because we only talked to people who already shared them. The humans are showing us that we were wrong. It is a painful lesson, but a necessary one. On the 5th day, the Torvin attacked. They came in 3 waves, hitting Council defensive positions simultaneously across multiple systems. The first wave hit exactly as predicted, using the same tactics they had used before. But this time the council was ready. Jisu's security systems blocked the Torvan hacking attempts. The council ship's systems did not turn against them. The Torvan ships seemed confused when their usual advantage did not materialize. The council fleet scattered as Seung had taught them, breaking into small groups that moved independently. The Torvan tried to pursue, but found themselves chasing targets that would not stay still, that would not fight in predictable patterns. Seung had placed human military advisors on several council command ships. They did not take control. They simply whispered suggestions. Ship approaching from your left. Recommend evasive pattern Delta. Enemy concentration detected. Consider moving to Sector 4. Good opportunity for ambush if you angle around that moon. The council commanders were learning. Some learned faster than others. Some made mistakes, but they were adapting. The battle lasted for 6 hours. When it was over, the Torvan had lost half their attacking force. They retreated, pulling back to their original positions. The council had held. In the command center, exhausted council members celebrated. Ilthan approached Taemin with all of its arms extended in what was clearly meant as an embrace. We won, we actually won. You held, Taemin corrected. That is not the same as winning. They will come again, and next time they will adapt to what we did today. But we can adapt too, Ilthan said. You can teach us more. Yes, but there is a problem. Taemin pulled up a display showing battlefield recordings. The Torvan are learning from us. They are studying how we fight. Every battle teaches them more about human tactics. Eventually, they will understand us as well as they understand you. Daejung had been listening. Then we need to find a permanent solution. We cannot fight this war indefinitely. What do you suggest? Vextari asked. Communication, Kira said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. We have never actually talked to the Torvan. We do not know what they want. Maybe there is a way to end this without more fighting. And if there is not? Vextari asked. Then we prepare for a long war, Daejung said. And we do it properly, not by giving the council human weapons, but by helping you develop your own defensive capabilities. We teach you to think like survivors without turning you into warriors. Jisu was at her computer, still monitoring systems. Suddenly she sat up straight. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Hana asked. Remember how I say,